Once again, it's time to lift back the veil and take a peek into the exciting world of Warhammer Online, Age of Reckoning. This month, we're going to examine quests and the many forms they will take in the game.
So CJ's putting together the podcast. I know you all like the podcasts. I know that you download them in their thousands, but I'm not in enough of them. So in an effort to shamelessly get myself put into the podcast, I'm specially recording this before I fly off to the UK, so you feel privileged. Quests are great. We don't just have standard quests. Oh no. We're giving them all sorts of crazy names and they all do different things, and I'm sure that CJ's been able to animate them in interesting and useful ways. But I want to tell you about actual quests in the game. Why? Because that's what you really want to hear. That's where the joy and the glory is.
You can't talk about quests in Warhammer Online without first talking about the story of Warhammer Online. Because basically, they're the same thing. It's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The story is the basis for all quests, and quests are the primary method through which you will experience the story. The two are so connected that quests in the game are organized into chapters, as if you were reading a book. You might remember from previous podcasts that in Warhammer Online, your character progresses through 4 tiers of gameplay. As you progress through the tiers, you will also be progressing through the chapters of the story. Quests will also have a radius, charges, adventures, and epics. Radius indicates how far the quest will take you, and how much of the story will be revealed. Charges take place in a single chapter, and serve to illuminate only that chapter's story. Adventures will continue over multiple chapters, and help to transition the story from chapter to chapter within a single tier. Epics are enormous, spanning multiple chapters from the first tier to the last. Major aspects of the Age of Reckoning storyline will be revealed, and you'll meet recognizable characters from the Warhammer world. So, now that we know that quests are story-driven, and how big or small they can be, let's get into the thick of things and talk about the types of quests you can go on in Warhammer Online. Kill collectors, tome quests, exploration quests, RVR quests, and public quests. Kill collectors. Kill collectors are a new twist on the classic MMO quest. The basic goal is to kill mobs. Rewards, however, will be given out regardless of whether anyone asked you to go hunting or not. If your rampage was useful to someone, expect to be rewarded for it.
Kill collectors. Actually, that's a sort of internal name. It's not really what they are. What they are is called a don't be stupid quest. Right? You ever played any of these games where you're trying to get to a bloke and he's got some flashing thing over his head saying, I've got a quest, and he's surrounded by bears. You know, bears. Bears as far as the eye could see. Bears, 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 bears. To get to this guy, you have to trundle through, and you have to go kill a bear, kill another bear, kill another bear. When you finally get to him, what he says to you is, I really don't like bears. I'd like you to kill some bears. And you're covered in bear blood. You've got bits of bear all over you. You've got a bear stuck on the end of your sword, and you have to go, what do you want me to kill? Bears. What do you think I was just doing? I've got no idea, mate. Well, you've only just clicked on me, and bears is what it was. And so you have to pull your sword out, and you have to clean all the bear blood off you and the bear fur. You then go out, right, and you go, kill a bear, kill a bear, kill a bear. You go back to him, and he goes, no, I said kill bears. I said, what do you think I was just doing? Well, you can't have killed a bear, because if you'd done that, you'd have got a bear paw. What are you talking about? Well, only bear paws count for killing bears. And you sort of go, I am going to kill you at this rate. Yeah, that's what we call the usual dynamic. Well, we did away with that because it was rubbish. In ours, it's very simple. There'll be a bloke, right? And let's pick something that's more sort of evocative. Let's say it's a Corsair. Yeah? Yes, we are working on elves. Yes, pay attention. Elf stuff, okay? So, you got a Corsair. That's one of the elves. Never mind. Corsair, right? And he's standing there, you know, being all sort of like evil and spiky and, you know, enjoying himself. And you're wandering around, you think, I'm just going to go and talk to that Corsair. When you do, you get jumped by Shadow Warriors. Bloody Shadow Warriors. So, you put him to the sword, plop in there, la-di-da heads off, having a pretty good time. When you get to him, lo and behold, the Corsair goes, I can't stand Shadow Warriors, and I see that you have killed 5 of them. Here's a reward. There's no bear paw, there's no Shadow Warrior paw. There's no triggering it to say, now you should kill Shadow Warriors. What the Corsair wants you to do is slaughter Shadow Warriors. And as long as you've been doing that, he gives you the rewards. And the reason that that's done is because the game's really clever. And it knows if you've killed Shadow Warriors. So it doesn't need to be told, activate the now you must kill Shadow Warrior thing. It's quite clever, our server, and it can go, yeah, it's a fair cop. He wanted 5 of those dead, he killed 5 of them, give him his reward. So we have them sprinkled all over the land. So if you're wandering along and you see a lot of monsters and you're not too sure if you should bother harvesting them, remember, somebody somewhere wants them dangling on chains. Somebody somewhere wants to know that they've been put into the ground. And no, you don't have to keep collecting bear paws. After all, it would be stupid to keep getting a bear paw every time you killed a troll. I mean, that's just dumb. So, kill collector quests, they're fantastic.
Tome quests. Tome quests refer to a special quest you actually receive from the Tome of Knowledge, your in-game information resource. We can't go into a lot of details here yet, but rest assured that tome quests are one more reason we think the Tome of Knowledge is one of the more revolutionary aspects of Warhammer Online. Exploration quests. Exploration quests are random, special quests specifically designed to reward exploration. No NPC will guide you to an exploration quest. You can only stumble upon them. They offer instant rewards for little effort and help to enrich the story.
We also have these other ones, another internal name. We call them Christmas quests, exploration quests, wonder quests, Easter egg quests. Basically, they're ooh, cool. That's basically what they are. Bits of ooh, cool. Sort of things that will be in guidebooks, and they will mercilessly take away all the joy that we put into it, but really you should just discover them. I'll give you an example. What do you know? It happens through from the elves again. Another dark elf one. Not that I'm against the high elves. Alright, I am against the high elves, but look, listen, trust me, the dark elves are great. So in this one, you're wandering along, minding your own business, doing the quest. You know, plotting the downfall of the high elves, making sure you betray everyone, looking after the whole reason why chaos needs to be looked after, and the orcs have got to be fed simplistic tactics so that they'll beat things up for you. Plotting how Malekith can take over everything. You know, the basic stuff dark elves do. You're wandering along, minding your own business, and you come across a dark elf on the ground, wounded, dying. He's got a sword stuck all the way through him. He's in no condition to move. He's bleeding like a stuck high elf. What you gonna do? Well, you can bother interacting with him if you want. What's the bloody point? Instead, you take his sword, pick it up, and go, thanks very much. You kept that nice and warm. You get a free sword, he dies. There you go. Moment of cool, lummy. I quite like that. Our game riddled with them. You find them absolutely everywhere. What are they there for? They're there for the people who bother to give a damn. They're there for the people who don't just go to websites and say, tell me how to get to level 50 as fast as possible. They're there for people who bother to understand the story, wander and explore. They're there for people who go, you know what? These people have worked until their fingers fell off. Night and day, coming up with quests. Most of them no longer can sit still. They have nervous twitches and tics. We have guys who sit there saying, am I really just making a genocide simulator? And we have to talk them up and say, yes, of course you have to kill things. That's why our game's called War. Now think of more interesting and comical ways of doing it. Come on now, put some effort into it. Once more, with feeling and blood. So, go on, search the land, enjoy them. Christmas quests, they're fantastic.
RVR quests. RVR quests require your character to travel into the contested RVR areas of Warhammer Online. These quests will prove especially challenging as they ask you to rack up kills against live players.
We also have RVR quests. Now, these are quests that you do in the RVR area, and they mutate a bit like the chaos that is surrounding the entire game and permeates the exact vision of where we're going. No. They're mutated. We weren't too sure what to do with them. We were trying to find a way to fit them in to the RVR system. I mean, after all, you don't want to go to an RVR area and then go, actually, I need to pick flowers. Or maybe I need to go and kill bears. Now what you want to do is do something that's RVR centric. So an example of an RVR quest is going into one of the areas and say you're on the side of chaos, and then you've got to go and pick up limbs from the dead and hack people down and get all of the bits and pieces, take them over to a portal and start throwing them in and helping to summon demons and helping to get buffs and energy flying down to make your team win while you're in RVR. By bothering to pillage, take and destroy bits of your opponents, you actually help yourself and your teammates totally dominate the world. That's got to be a good thing.
One of the quest types we're most excited about is the public quest. Like other quests, public quests are organized into chapters, but they are centered around encounter areas and not assigned to you by a specific NPC. As you enter such an area, the game informs you of the public quest going on and what you can do to help out. Once those goals are completed, it's not over. Public quests are constantly evolving. Completing one stage of the quest will lead to another stage, and another, and so on. It all leads to some final climax, usually taking the form of a boss monster you must help defeat. And with victory come the spoils. In addition to the normal game experience your character will receive for participating, joining a public quest will offer 2 additional gains: contribution and influence. Let's look at contribution first. Every character still participating in the public quest when the final stage is completed will earn an additional reward based upon how much contribution they have built up. In other words, loot. If you can't see the public quest through to its conclusion, however, you're not left high and dry. This is where influence comes in. Every chapter has an NPC that acts as a hub for public quests. As you participate in public quests, you gain influence with that NPC hub. That NPC hub will distribute rewards based upon how much influence you have built up. The more influence, the better your reward options will be. Each hub will distribute rewards based on your influence in their own chapter. So, as you can see, your character will be rewarded over and over as you move on.
So, these things we call public quests, or as I call them, not having to wait around for people to raid with quests. Things that are full of joy and energy. I'm going to tell you about 2 of them, 2 very particular ones, mostly because we'll be shopping the game around, taking it to shows, and these are the public quests you're actually going to get to see. So whilst I'll explain it to you in that sort of hyperbole style, then when you actually get to see the game, you'll realise that I wasn't lying. And then in fact, it is truly joyous. So there are 2 great public quests at the start of the Greenskins and the start of the Dwarves. We'll do the Greenskins first, mostly because I like them. The thing about the Greenskins, right, is their area starts this enormous lock. It's a big gate with water behind it. And it's got dwarves in it. You know what orcs are like. They want to fight, they want to fight, they want to fight, they want to fight. So they're desperate to fight the dwarves. The dwarves, on the other hand, realise that if they go out there, they could be in a bit of trouble. And they need to make sure that they're defended and they're looked after. So what the orcs are going to figure out is how to get the dwarves out. And the problem is that the dwarves are behind these enormous stone gates. You know, dwarven craftsmanship, last forever, can't possibly be opened. It really irritates the orcs, so they headbutted them for a while, they scratched at them for a while, they farted at them for a while, nothing worked. And then this big giant turned up. And the great thing about giants in Warhammer is actually they'll fight for anyone as long as you get them drunk. I mean, that's basically a giant, huge, lumbering drunkard. So, the giant's there and he's bumbling around and he's got these squigs. You know how great squigs are. And they're bouncing around his feet and they're irritating him. So you kill the squigs and get rid of those. And then you have to get the giant drunk, find the barrels of beer, pour them down his throat until he's absolutely smashed off his face. Then you get hold of one of these big bombs, one of the big naval bombs that the dwarves have built. You know, those big sea mines that they have. And the idea is they get the giant to pick up the bomb and sort of roll the bomb towards the gates. The trouble is, the orcs can't really explain to the giant what the bomb is, and the giant's so drunk by this stage, he's got no idea what he wants him to do. So you can imagine, these orcs are there going, "Come on now, big lad, pick up the big bomby thing, the big round stuff what go boom." And the giant was like, "Huh, huh, huh." So the shaman, the little goblin shaman, came up with a fantastic plan. He got together with a little squig herder, and they go over to the big mine, and they paint it as though it's a great big squig. And so it's this big orange squig with teeth and eyes, and it's sort of sitting there. Now when they get the giant really drunk, they go, "Oi, big lad, pick up the big squig." And then the giant goes, "Ooh, I can pick up the big squig." And our animators did a great job. I mean, he actually picks it up, rolls it onto his belly, just like a fat person really carrying stuff. It's awesome. And it waddles about with the big mine, and it goes over to this like enormous bridge that you can't get onto, and sort of rolls it down there. It blows up. Well, obviously, that drives the dwarves completely mental. And they come storming out. And they don't just come out in a few of them, no, hordes of them come out. Wave after wave of them come out, and it goes through all the different types of dwarves that you're going to fight. There's iron breakers, and there's engineers, there's all sorts, there's hammers. It's really, really good. And then it ends with like a big baddie, a big dwarven hero, and he comes out and he's had enough of it, comes out, smashes you around, and then you finally get to like beat him up. Meanwhile, the dwarves basically figure out how to close the gates again, and the whole thing cycles round and restarts. The beauty of this public quest is you can arrive in any stage and have a right good laugh and kill stunties and see a big fat drunk man pick up an enormous bomb painted like a squig. I mean, how great is that? And you'll be able to play it. But that's not all. We also have the Dwarven Public Quest. Now, the Dwarven Public Quest is not the sort of shameless comic gaggery that we just did for Greenskins. No. This one builds on the actual, idea and concepts interwoven within Warhammer, while still having mindless violence at its core. This is all about a dwarven area. It's got a big dwarf engineer, and he lost his wife, Helga, brave Helga, killed by Greenskins. Who else? And the engineer became so possessed by this that he decided that in her memory he needs to kill as many Greenskins as possible. But he wants to do it in a way that is interesting and useful and shows just how much he loved that wonderful woman. So he went off and he built a gun. Not just any gun, but an enormous rail gun. I mean, this gun is big. Think of the biggest thing you can think of and then scale it up by about 12%. I mean, it's enormous. It's got this big row of cannonballs outside it. Some have got dwarven runes on. One of them's got like a squig herder chained to it, and it's very, very silly. The gun is so big that it fires so far that you can't actually see where it's targeted. There's like an enormous valley, and there's this haze, and so the dwarves are stuck with this problem. They've got this enormous gun, but they've got no way of sighting it. So you wander through the level, and go over the bridges, and you kill everything, and you push barrels off bridges. They blow things to pieces. Fabulous. You then find your way all the way to the other side through the haze, and then you've got to kill loads and loads of these orcs who have got this enormous boss. This boss is mega hard. He's a rank 40. He's the sort of guy who, if he actually came down off his big mega war perch, he'd slaughter everyone. And there's no way you can kill him. So you wander in there, kill a load of his lads, and then you find these barrels of gunpowder. You collect all those. While you're doing that, he keeps sending down bigger and bigger lads, and you realise sooner or later he's going to come down. And when he comes down, you're all dead. But you've got dwarven technology on your side. Get enough of these barrels, kill enough of these guys, and these dwarven engineers run into the middle of the encampment, and they set up this big signal flare using the rune of accuracy, and it goes whoosh, flies way up into the sky, 40, 50 feet, and then explodes, making this beautiful dwarven rune, perfect in geometric detail, I can tell you. And then if you're way over at Helga, you can see this big rune go ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-bam, and then Helga trundles into life, big operatic movements. It's great. You should actually stay and watch Helga fire. She's marvellous. And then there's this guy called Crossmire. He did all the special effects for Helga. She rocks. And then way over where the rune went up, you hear this whistling. It's sort of like World War II doodlebug thing. You sort of hear this, and then it hits, and an entire mountainside collapses. I'm talking the cloud of smoke, the rings, it's a tremendous sight to see. And you know what makes you feel proud being a dwarf? I mean, you might be small, you might have a dirty beard, you might have no gold, but by hell, you can blow up half a mountain and drop it on a big orc boss. I mean, how cool's that? So, public quests, they're not just a good idea, they're actually fabulously well realised.
That's it for this month. Stay tuned for more podcasts. See them first in the Warhammer Online Age of Reckoning newsletter.